I'm going to start of the project on the storage box for our 2017 ornaments. And I'm going to do what they call a dirty pour. So hang out with me. We're going to get a little dirty, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to start with the lid to a photo storage box. So that would look like this. Because the lid paper is so smooth, what I did was I sprayed it first with a Krylon primer sealer, sandable priming paint, and let that dry, and then we can move forward. I'm going to put it on a cardboard that is going to have some paper cups on it to lift the lid so that I can move it around. But before I do that, I want to mix up some paints. So I'm going to use a desert cactus and a black forest green and a white, snow white. And I also need some cups to mix the paint with. So hold 1 second and I'll be right back. So here I have my 3 paper cups and my paint. And I'm going to put maybe $50 size worth of paint in each one. Make sure you shake the paints up good before you put them in there. I'm going to pour some water into each one. Mix those up. So you want it to be very pourable, very, very inky. Want it to look more like milk than paint. You don't want any of that coffee sludge at the bottom. Okay. Now I'm going to put those aside. Bring up my surface. And like I said, I have the cups underneath. You can see that. I have the cups underneath. Place it on top. And with my blank cup here, I'm going to then pour these into it one at a time. So a little bit of the light green, a little bit of the dark green, some of the white, and then I'm going to turn my surface over and lift. Just let that go. We need more paint. If you want to go and add some more paint, And then we'll complete that. Okay, so now the areas that we couldn't get into, what we can do is take one of our brushes, just kind of bring some of that color into that area. Make sure you get those edges here. You don't have to go all the way down the edges. If you want, go ahead and you can touch on that, pick some of this up, place that in there. Those areas. I'm just going to pick some of this up on the sides and tap. There's some bubble areas, so we're going to have to blow on that. So with my heat gun, the heat gun actually starts to fracture the paint and you start seeing some crackling, which is pretty cool. So let that dry overnight and we'll come back, put our design on and paint. Now that my pouring is dry, I went over it and sprayed it with 2 to 3 coats of Americana acrylic sealer finisher. This way here, I will make sure that any mistakes I might make are correctable. I traced on my pattern for the bow. I'm first going to base the tops of the loops with a mixture of Snow White and Desert Cactus, and it's 3 parts Snow White to 1 part Desert Cactus. I'm going to use my 8. An 8 or a 10 would work fine. I want to start with my 8 and go in and base just the top parts. If you want to do one at a time, because you don't want to have to retrace those lines on, you can go ahead and do that. So I'm going to do that and then I'll be right back. So this is after I did the outside loops, and I'm doing the inside of the loops with Black Forest green. It's a little transparent, but it's working out fine. I'm liking it. So I'm going to do the next layer of outside loops with the Black Forest green inside, and then the center. I'll see you when you're done. So this is after 3 coats of the mix of the Snow White plus Desert Cactus mix, and this would be 2 coats of the Black Forest, and these are like 1 coat. So I'm going to go back and make them all equal depth opaqueness, and then I'll be back. Now I'm going to use my number 4 dome brush, and with a dry piece of paper towel, I'm going to pick up some, not that you can see it, but I'm picking up some white, and I'm going to work that into my bristle hairs here. And then I'm going to take the excess off on my paper towel, and I'm going to start to highlight these. Now they're kind of cone shape, so I'm going to start with narrow at the top, and then I'm going to get wider as I come down to the center. Let's see if I can get a better shot of that. So I'm going to start wide down here and work my way narrower at the top. You see that? I'm going to do that on each one. So I'm making a triangular motion. Start narrow at the base if I can, as wide down here as I can, because there's ones in front of it, and then get narrow as I come out to the outer edge. Wide, narrow. I will keep showing you how I'm doing that, but I will be fast forwarding. If you need to put your lines back on to know where they started and stopped as you get further into the design, then go ahead and do that first. Use white graphite paper. So the middle one, now we're going to do the middle ones. The back ones don't really get anything. If you want to just put it out on the tip, you can do that. Then this second one in here comes out from underneath the top one. And then the middle one goes this way, from one side to the other. Punch up any highlights that you need to by adding more white. And if you lost some of the tips here, you can put your tracing back on and fix those with the mix. When you're done with the brush, you can wash it off. I'm gonna blow dry that. I'm gonna put my pattern back on and see how I did. Not too bad. Sometimes they grow after a while. So let's see, I missed one dark area right there. I can see now. So let's go ahead and put that in. And if you want to trace on some areas that you feel you need to separate because it's not obvious to you. So I think that's good. I just have to put in that dark area there. Okay. So now I'm going to start doing some shading, and I'm going to use my 12 flat. And if you want to pre-wet, you want to do the pre-wet method, go right ahead and do that. I'm going to go straight to my side loading, which is picking up or having a certain amount of water in your brush. And how can you tell what that is? See the gloss on my brush? Let's see if I can get that gloss. See that gloss? I go like this until that gloss leaves, turn it over, put it down until the gloss leaves. That's only a second. Pick up on the corner of my brush some of that color. And it's only about 1/4 the width of the hairs. And turn my brush over so that the paint edge of the brush is always in the puddle of paint. And pressure, bend those hairs, all hairs down, on deck all the time. And that will tell your brush, your paint what to do. Okay, I'm going to start by coming up this edge, walking it down, and then making it into a triangle to the top. See that? Try it again. Start here, walk it down towards the bottom edge, and then now walk it up towards the outside edge, and a triangular fashion. You have a mop brush. You can mop it out. I'm going to do that all the way around. When you're doing this one, you're going to have to be careful not to go back in with your clean brush and wipe it off of the one in front of it for now. Obviously, they're not all going to go down to meet this. You're not going to bring it all the way over there. But when you see that it is relatively close to that edge, to that, what would be a triangle, you will. Remember, I told you if those lines, if you missed it, go over it with, go back to your mix and put that in there. Stay away from your highlight. So I'm going to let that dry. While that's drying, in the center ones, we are going to put a shading on the top and middle bands of ribbon to the outer edges. And you might want to go halfway across your brush or size up to a 3/4 inch. So this is going to go across here. This one will go across there. On the bottom one, that one is going to have the light is on the outside. So let's make that dark on the inside here. We can do a very narrow, if you want to do a very narrow, what's left on your brush down both sides of that center one. That will help that. Or should I say, touch up any areas that don't quite seem to flow into what you would deem natural curves of your piece. Okay, this left side is dry. I'm going to go around now and do the right sides. When you get to that point, you've done the left and right sides, go back and deepen this back one. Make sure that the water into your brush isn't going over a wet area. I'm going to go ahead and deepen the outsides of these center ones. Let's dry that. Okay, I want to deepen some of the areas, and we have to decide if we're putting them on the ones on the top or the bottom. So I'm going to start to put them on the ones on the top, keeping the ones on the bottom lighter, the ones further away lighter. So this one is behind, this one is on top. So let's go here. Same on this side. But when you get to this one's on top, right? So where it's on top, we're going to deepen that. Don't forget to mop out as you need. And it's hard because some areas they're on top and in others they're on the bottom. Be careful that you don't go over a wet area. And you can go over an area if you want it to show up more, if you feel your first application wasn't sufficient. Now I'm going to take my fine liner and I'm going to take some Black Forest green and I'm going to do a decorative line. Like a stripe inside the A little bit of water inside the ribbon, a little bit of water. Follow the curve of your ribbon when you do that. So, do it down there, bring it up, bring it down. Pretend like you can see the ribbon curling on underneath. Now when that's dry, take your liner brush with a little bit of white, watered down, and the areas that are hitting the highlight, just kind of go over them with a little bit of whitewash. To soften. I might actually go up to my number 3 round. Some moisture in my brush. Just where the white is. Go over in areas that need to deepen. If there are some areas that you feel you want to, you can deepen the outside edges again. I'm liking it the way it is. Okay. So there you go. So take care until next time. Always remember to paint with heart.